Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatma Ali, roll number BP1650065, group number 37. My topic of presentation is acute lung transplant rejection. Now, first of all, I would like to discuss about lung transplantation. It is a surgical procedure to replace a diseased or failing lung with a healthy lung, usually from a deceased donor. A lung transplant is reserved for people who have tried other medications or treatments, but their condition haven't sufficiently improved. Depending on your medical condition, a lung transplant may involve replacing one of your lung or both of them. In some situations, a lung may be transplanted along with the donor heart. While a lung transplant is a major operation that can involve many complications, it can also greatly improve your health and quality of life. Now we will discuss about lung transplant rejection. Our body's natural immune cells are able to recognize small unique proteins called antigens that are present on the surface of all cells or infectious particles. These immune cells, called the T cells and the B cells, can recognize the antigens as self if they belong to us, or non-self if they do not belong to us, such as those in the donor lung. This recognition occurs mainly through complex protein on the cell surface called HLA antigens. The HLA system is made up of three classes with many subtypes. Each person has a combination of these HLA proteins that make him or her unique, a signature. The differences in these signatures help our immune cells to separate self from non-self. They then direct an attack on the foreign donor lung, resulting in rejection. Now, the types of lung transplant rejection. There are two types of lung transplant rejection. First is acute rejection. Second one is chronic rejection. Acute rejection is the most common type of rejection. This is a change that develops over a short time and may resolve with prompt treatment. Chronic rejection, over time, patient may develop slowly worsening chronic rejections called chronic lung allograft dysfunction. And the common form of chronic lung allograft dysfunction is called bronchiolitis obliterans syndrome, which is leading long-term cause of death 1 year after lung transplantation. Now moving towards acute rejection. Acute rejection is common in the early post-operative period, with up to 50% of the patient having at least one treated episode within the first year. Acute rejection can occur at any time. The diagnosis of acute rejection is made using clinical and histologic criteria. Standardized criteria has been established for histologic grading of tissue from transbronchial biopsies, which are scheduled routinely. Clinical signs of acute rejection include dyspnea, cough, sputum production, low-grade fever, decline in FEV1. Now the diagnosis. The FEV1 and FVC are assessed daily by the patient using a handheld spirometer. As little as a 10% decline in a pulmonary function can be significant in the absence of other causes of respiratory decline, particularly infection. Treatment for acute rejection can be initiated based on clinical signs only, although they are not always correct. If clinical evidence of acute rejection is present, a transbronchial biopsy is needed to firmly establish the diagnosis of rejection. The diagnosis of lung transplant rejection still can be established even in the face of negative transbronchial biopsy if other causes are ruled out. Now moving towards treatment. Treatment is generally with the first corticosteroid, but there are no studies to define the optimal amount of duration of therapy. Most centers use intravenous methylprednisolone of 10 to 15 mg per kilogram daily or 500 to 1000 mg daily for 3 days. An oral prednisone taper may follow. Bronchoscopy may be performed to follow up acute rejection in order to assess response to therapy. Now we have a case of a 33-year-old 54-kilogram man with a history of lung transplant due to pulmonary fibrosis. At his 3-month visit, he is seen with the symptoms of cough, dyspnea, low-grade fever, and a decline in FEV1. Other medical problems include diabetes mellitus, gastroesophageal reflux disease, pancreatic insufficiency, and sinusitis. His current medications are albuterol twice a day, 4 ml 7% sodium chloride twice a day given via nebulizer. omeprazole 20 mg daily, insulin glargine 10 unit twice a day, correctional scale insulin aspart, calcium supplement twice a day, pancreatic enzymes with meal and snacks, prednisone 20 mg daily, and tacrolimus 3 mg twice a day. Patient has his scheduled protocol biopsy and the transplant team is notified that he has a A1B2 rejection. What is the appropriate regimen to treat this rejection episode? Now we are moving towards SOAP notes. Subject shows the onset is 3 months, location is lungs, chief complaint cough, dyspnea, low-grade fever, and a decline in FEV1. Patient history is lung transplant, diabetes mellitus, gastroesophageal reflux disease, pancreatic insufficiency, and sinusitis. Current medications are albuterol, sodium chloride, omeprazole, insulin glargine, insulin aspart, calcium supplement, pancreatic enzymes, prednisone, and tacrolimus. Now the object shows that temperature is slightly increased, BP, respiratory rate, and heart rate are normal, and the lab result shows that there is an increase in blood urea nitrogen level and protein level and decrease in hematocrit and hemoglobin. Now the assessment. By observing the symptoms of patient, he has a protocol biopsy and it is notified that he has an acute rejection. Plan. The primary treatment for acute rejection is methylprednisolone 500 to 1000 mg per day IV or 10 to 15 mg per kg per day every day for 3 days. The dose of oral prednisone can also be increased to 1 mg per kilogram per day and then taper down to maintain the dose over 2 to 3 weeks. More than 90% of rejection episodes of transplanted lungs respond to corticosteroid therapy with clinical response seen within 2 days in most patients. But if the patient doesn't show any improvement or the patient show more severe symptoms, we can also go towards immunosuppressants drug, including OKT3, Edgum, thymoglobulin, tacrolimus, and cyclosporine. Thank you.